round, we'll have Amit face off against Pack, and it looks like they are ready for our top 8 feature match here. This is game 1 of the top 8 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Remote Duel Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series. As we've seen, it is Amit against Pack. These are two duels we've seen a little bit earlier on in the tournament. Excited to have them back. We have Pack, who's playing the DD deck on the bottom against Amit, who is playing.
Okay, draw phase.
I believe he was playing Sky Striker. Yeah,
Sky
that's Sky
Striker,
Striker. Yep, with the Destiny Hero package included, along with some adventurer cards as well. So just taking advantage of those engines.
I'm gonna.
We'll see.
Go. Normal summon Copernicus, effective foolish, a DD monster, or dark contract from deck to grave.
Yep. Pack explains his cards pretty well there. He's going to go normal summon Copernicus.
Yeah, Gamma's good.
So special, and then I'm going to summon Driver from my hand too.
Sure, no worries.
Who has the Gamma, so he's able to trade away for that Copernicus, but he unfortunately drew the Driver as well.
So it's interesting seeing Amit's deck. It seems more of like a control deck rather than what Sky Strikers we've seen before. Like a control aggressive deck with like DP, with Destiny Hero, Phoenix Forcer, and as well as like a bunch of hand traps. The adventure cards just have high attacks, so it's easier to push rather than what Sky Strikers was before, where you're kind of just sitting on one link monster every turn and a bunch of spells.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is that he's able to turn a much faster clock, right? Get the damage on the field to end those games sooner. But it looks like he has unfortunately drawn Celestial as well, along with the Fusion Destiny. So now just 2 cards left in his hand after going second. Rough position for him. Luckily, he does have the Destroyer, Phoenix, and Forcer to lean on, but it sounded like, Pack's hand had a bit of gas in it. Not enough to where he really felt comfortable pushing there, but he at least had follow play, so he's trying for the second normal summon or something. Maybe another copy of Copernicus. We'll see exactly what Pack has, but 2 more cards in Amit's hand.
You are good.
Played them, so likely to be, I think, some hand effects. We might see come out. But now Pack has at least to deal with that Destroyer, Phoenix, and Forcer. Should keep in mind at least 1 more point of disruption as well if he can. That would be an ideal scenario.
Yeah, I feel like the destruction of Phoenix and Forcer might not affect the DD deck as well as maybe like a destruction and a negation like how Gamma was. He might be able to still play through.
Man, this is a tough spot.
Yeah, that's wild to me. Pack said it's a tough spot, just given this scenario. Like, if this is a tough spot, I don't know what a normal game would look like.
I don't think I die. Do I die? I'll go to end phase. Sure. He dies, right?
All right, Pack's just gonna pass. He just needs 1 more.
DP in graveyard?
Yeah, fine.
Right. Draw turn?
Yep.
Big thing here is just depending on how fast Amit can empty his hand to use that Celestial, not using or setting either of those cards that he had had in hand previously. Makes me think there might be hand effects, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, that's fine.
Attack for 15.
This should be enough.
So
you think that's enough damage to end the game right here?
That should be good.
Yeah, because Ray will be able
to
back out or Hayate or another 1500.
Yeah, Judge, can I concede?
And then Destiny or Phoenix Forcer is just another 2500, so it's actually exact game, like Amit said.
Yeah, I mean, just capitalizing on exactly what you said here. This just newer Sky Striker deck that is able to take advantage of cards like Destroyer, Phoenix, and Forcer. Less of a control strategy, right? Like, you're not necessarily trying to grind out the opponent. You're just trying to deal enough damage before they can sort of get what they're trying to do online. And that's what it takes. It's more of like a tempo-y strategy in some ways. People might consider it, but really like not leveraging the just the sort of grind game that Sky Striker used to be known for, right? More so just about like taking advantage where you can get it, just getting the damage in, and maybe killing your opponent in a turn or 2. But I mean, playing very well. Our Pack, surprising that I think we just see the first Copernicus out of him, and that was it.
Yeah, that was it. So his hand might have just been like, I'm actually very unsure what his hand is because the synergy with the DD cards are so good with each other, and there's so many search cards in the deck. So maybe it was too many interruptions from the hand that couldn't really do anything to Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer, or maybe just too many Pendulum monsters that had a high level. I'm very unsure what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, just sometimes your hands are weak. It looked like he was just like too reliant on that Copernicus normal summon to, or more so its effect, to get him on the field. But you're right. You know, we talk about one of these things that these hand effects are incredibly strong, right? Like we've seen them just throughout formats since they're released to now, from Effect Veil or even DD Crow all the way back then to more modern ones here. But it's all about just like what line up well where. And Sky Striker being one of those decks that, you know, it's less combo centric, so some of these cards just aren't going to line up as well. And that could have been exactly the case for Pack there, where, you know, he has a hand that's just too reactive, you know, just enough to maybe get going if the Copernicus effect is able to resolve and he's able to, you know, kick down whatever he needs to, but it's just rough. But you got to have that 0-0 mindset. He's going to game 2 now, back against Wall. You know, Pack's been here before. He is a well-seasoned player, very familiar with the remote duel scene, and he looks like he has a great grasp on his DD deck as well, to where I'm excited to see what might come out of it in game 2.
Yeah, definitely. Even I'm sure is in like a great mood right now. His hand was very subpar. He ended up having the side frame driver as well as one of the Fusion Destiny materials in his hand, which is definitely stuff you don't want to see when you pair it with Gamma and Fusion Destiny. But it was he was able to actually get there within like 2 turns to end the game as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great thing to touch on, right? Is like, of its hand, if I opened my hand and saw Driver, Celestial, Fusion Destiny, and a Gamma, I'd be like, man, I really just have like 2 other cards left in my hand after this, right? Like, Gamma and Fusion Destiny, incredibly powerful, but costing an extra card each, you know, not always the best. Especially with something like DD that, you know, has like a lot of pushing power. They're able to do a lot of things if they're able to go online. So, you know, really, how much is that going to be able to do? But it just lines up for it. But I think that is the best, right? Where you look at your hand, you sort of like write it off, like, oh man, you know, probably not going to win this one, but it's okay. You're a little bit maybe thinking about game 2, but no, Amit was zoned in on what he could do that game, took advantage of all the cards he had, and that's what matters. And now we're going to head to our second game. Amit up a game, as we mentioned, against Pack. Back kind of against a wall, fighting for his tournament life here, right? If he gets one more loss, he's out. You know, the chance at getting that title here this weekend sort of lost from him, but, you know, Pack, a YCS champion, he's just trying to run it back.
Yeah, definitely. I think even him going first, hopefully he will be able to play this game. We can see some DD combos as well as maybe some new cards from Battle of Chaos.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and we see that, like, he had the opportunity to do more, right? Like, that one turn he was considering, he's like, you know, am I just going to get, like, lose the next turn? Like, are you going to have enough damage? He didn't really think so, right? So that's where he would decide. I'm sure he could have committed some cards to maybe block some damage, but maybe just given how weak or reactive his hand was, he really needed just like all of that gas for the following turn if he really wanted to win. So, you know, I think it's a reasonable decision to make, right? You know, you're playing to win the game rather than just like survive a turn. But we're going to go ahead and head down to our second game. As we've mentioned, Amit is up a game with his Sky Striker deck. Pack, on the other hand, down a game with DD, but we're going to be excited to see exactly what he has for us this time around. This deck is featuring new cards from Battle of Chaos, as well as a bunch of other powerful inclusions. You know, cool cards like Piri Raise Map. There's so much good stuff going on.
Okay, I'm going to use itself and...
So we see Pack starting off with a Swirl Slime activation in hand, which will allow him to fuse with another DD monster from your hand and sending them to grave.
What does the Zero King do? Does it have anything relevant?
Yeah, basically, I can tribute one other monster, apply one of the effects on res. It can attack directly. You cannot activate cards or effects in the spawn trap zone, or you cannot activate cards or effects in the hand.
Okay, no grave effect, though, right?
What? No grave effect.
It doesn't have a grave effect, right?
No.
Okay, you're good. Yeah.
Activate the effect of Swirl Slime to special summon a DD from my hand.
Yeah, you're good.
And so getting things kicked off with that Swirl Slime and keep pushing on. That's going to be a Copernicus that gets special summoned in next.
Chain Link
choosing
or
what zone.
Chainlink 1 Genghis Reborn back 0 King. Chainlink 2 Copernicus to Foolish any DD card or Dark Contract.
Yeah, you're good, dude.
This definitely seems like one of the better openers for Pack. He's definitely getting started even without his normal summon so far. He's been able to actually get 3 monsters on the board as well as Foolish Burial, as well as sending one more DDD from deck to grave.
Yeah, his hand is definitely
I'll activate
much
the effect
better
of 0 King Rage.
this time around.
I'm gonna tribute
Yep.
for cost Copernicus and range response.
No, so what's it gonna do now?
I can apply 3 effects. I attack directly, which I can't because I'm going first. Second one is you cannot activate cards or effects in the spell and trap zone. And the third effect is you cannot activate cards, effects in the hand or grave.
Oh, for this turn, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, proceed. You're good.
Okay, I'll apply the effect where you cannot activate cards or effects in the hand or grave.
Yeah, that's good.
So Pack used Zero King's
Activate Dark
effect, which
Contract,
is
effect to search the
super
monster.
cool because it will actually stop any of his opponents' like reactions from the hand, like maybe Effect Veiler or Ghost Ogre or Ash, and he's now allowed to just play completely free.
Yeah, definitely a powerful thing that this DD deck
Definitely a
is.
normal
If you're talking to me about combo decks, and you're like, by the way, my combo deck can just inherently turn off hand effects this turn while I do my thing. You're like, probably a good combo deck to look at. So we'll see exactly what he can do now, just unstifled by anything that Amit might have had. But it looked like Amit's hand might have not have had much anyway, but he's going to follow up with a Dark Contract with the gate. Going to go ahead and add the new
Griffin
DD Griffin from Battle of Chaos
so
from his deck.
it's like if you control a DDD, you can special summon it? Okay.
Free special from the hand, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, Amit just puts it perfectly. A great new extender for the
Gilgamesh
DD
for 2
deck.
skills.
A big reason
I
why
take
we
1,000 points
see
of damage, so I'm at
resurgence
7,000.
here.
Yeah.
As well as Gilgamesh, another card that's just incredibly powerful for the strategy, going to be able to easily set up a pendulum scale on both sides for him at the cost of 1,000 life points. Back then, just any card that was sort of like one card full scales, right? We look at things like Monkey Board and similar. Those were some of the most powerful cards. This is a link monster that just does that for you. And in the process of summoning this link monster, you're putting monsters into your extra deck as well. And getting arrows online is a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure.
Orthos can pop a spell and trap card on the field. One other DD.
Yeah, and it's super easy and generic to make. It's just any
I
2
can reward a
DD
DD
monsters
take
to
1,000
make,
points of
so
damage.
it's
Hello?
super
Yeah,
consistent.
so you can. Oh, I lagged. Okay.
Yeah, it basically whenever I special DD, I can reborn any DD in the graveyard, and then I take 1,000 points of damage, and you take half battle damage.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep. Then I will.
Looks like we're going to see a pendulum summon next.
I'll pendulum.
Yeah.
Thinking if I want to use anything.
Gonna get back the Copernicus and the Griffin.
Discard, draw. I will. I will not. Okay. Gonna overlay both of these into Wave Hacking Caesar. Basically, when it's sent from field to grave, I can add a Dark Contract from my deck to my hand.
Okay. Is that the only effect? Or?
No, the other effect is I can't use it, but basically, it's quick effect, detach a material. All monsters destroyed this turn comes back at the end of the battle phase, but I don't have a battle phase this turn, so I can't use it.
Yeah.
And I take 1,000 points of damage for every monster brought back.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. So he's gonna overlay both those monsters for that DD Wave King Caesar. Basically, just noting that when it's into the graveyard, he's gonna be able to grab a contract.
Summon Marksman Kingtail. And then I'll use the effect to detach 1, and then I'll burn you for I'll burn you for 1,000 and reduces monster by 1,000 attack and defense.
So it gets reduced and I take 1,000 or what?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Thinking. Then I will activate. I think here.
I'm really interested to see what his end board is because he still has the Necro Slime and Grave for another fusion summon.
And itself.
Sure.
And then
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, with this good of a hand.
DDD or Dark Contract from deck to grave.
Yep.
Yeah, with this good a hand, I hope his end board is something cool. We'll see exactly what it is.
The field spell effect is going to let me add Orthros to my hand.
Okay.
Assume it's going to include some amount of like maybe
activate the effect of
the Deuce Machinax, maybe Baron de Fleur.
Copernicus.
Yep.
Summon Flame Genghis. And then I will activate the effect of Ragnarok to reborn back Griffin.
Yep.
Chainlink 1 Griffin. Chainlink 2 Orthros because I take effect damage. I can summon from my hand for free.
Okay, so Griffin does damage to you? Oh.
No. Ragnarok burns me for 1,000.
Okay, so you're down another 1,000. Okay.
Yep.
So you should be at 6,000 now.
Yep. I'll add the DD Headhunt.
Yeah.
Ooh, and there's DDD Headhunt, one of the
do?
other new cards from
Headhunt
Valve
basically
Chaos.
is Widow Anchor, ironically enough. If you control a DDD monster, I can target one face of monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end phase of the next turn. Its effects are negated. I can't declare an attack with it. Also, if the monster special summon from the extra deck, it's considered a DDD monster.
Okay, and it's a normal spell, right?
It's a trap.
Normal trap. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, normal trap.
Normal trap. Yep. How would you like to cut?
Do half, and then top 3 to bottom.
Sure.
I mean, the big thing that Pac-Man did there, if it's from the extra deck, it's then considered a DDD monster, so then he could use it as a material for the Deuce Machinax or whatever he chooses. But it looks like he's going to use
Caesar. Whenever you activate a spell card, a trap card, a monster effect that would special summon a monster, I can attach a material, negate the effect, destroy the card, and if I do, make one other DD monster I control, gain an 1,800 attack until the end of the turn.
Yep.
Use both of these to make Siegfried. Basically, this card says during the player's turn, target one spell and trap card on the field. That target has its effects negated until the next end standby phase. And then whenever is destroyed by battle card effect, I gain 1,000 life points for every contract I control.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna summon Divisor King Duelist Machina X. Basically, whenever a monster card your opponent controls activates its effect, quick effect, I can attach 2 materials or destroy 1 dark contract I control. If I do, attach that opponent's cards to this card as a material, and that's what it does.
That's for any card, or is this monsters?
Monsters.
Okay, monsters. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to be
fiends or what?
They're all fiends, yes.
Okay.
I'll set 1, and I will attempt to pass turn.
All right.
Yeah, just strong here with those 3 DD monsters.
6,000. Yeah, 6 to 7. I'm at
6. Yeah, I'm at 7,000. Monsters. Standby main.
Sure.
I'll go ahead and activate Prosperity. So I will banish.
It looks like it's going to start things off with Pot of Prosperity. He's going to go ahead and banish 3 cards from his extra deck face down.
Yep.
I'll use Siegfried to negate it.
Pack considering responding here.
Go ahead and activate Area 0.
Sure.
Is that 1 card?
Yes.
Activate the effect of Area 0, target my set.
Sure.
Well, that would have been a pretty interesting Prosperity.
Yeah. So it misses, right? It goes back?
Yeah, it misses.
Yep. Lightning Storm, geesh.
The Lightning Storm would have been strong.
Yeah. Just go half and top 5.
Yeah. Reason I'm just... Okay, top 5 to bottom right.
Yes, thank you.
Alright.
Yep.
What are the stats on your monsters?
28-22, 28-18, 3,000, 3,000.
Okay.
Some very strong stats.
I'm gonna normal ray.
Yeah, definitely big monsters here for Vac. In addition to all these disruption inherently attached alongside them. Mid's gonna go ahead and normal summon.
Gonna go ahead
Ray.
and build a new chain link with Rose in my hand.
Link summons Hayate.
I'll negate.
Sure. So
Tries to use the effect wave. It's met by
Yes.
Caesar.
And
Okay.
then I'll make both my monsters gain 1800 attack.
Okay. And question: Does the Siegfried negate the activation of the card or the effects of the card?
The effects.
Okay, so you're still would only take half damage this turn. At the battle phase.
Yep.
Attack directly.
Amit's just trying to make
Thinking
something happen in such a bad situation.
So 750, right?
Yeah, it's a lot to stare down, right? And he still has the headhunt set, which is just
so you go
gonna
down
be
to
very
52, 50. Activate the effect of Hayate.
Yeah, I think he really needed the area 0 to resolve and maybe hit like a Widow Anchor or especially engage, just something.
Okay, I'll take the
yeah,
damage.
definitely.
Yep.
A bit unfortunate from that.
Yeah, I'll send Anchor.
Looks like Amit is going to get that direct attack in.
Yeah.
Pick down Widow Anchor from his deck to the graveyard thanks to the effect of Hayate. Now giving him access to it if he wants something like a Kagari.
Kagari, target Anchor?
Thinking. Can cut a deck in half in two?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just going to concede here. That's why.
Okay, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, you're negating, right? So,
Yeah,
and negate and attack. So technically it doesn't leave the field, so yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't trigger Ray, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was a,
yeah, but it looks
like a good hand for me. Thank God.
Yeah, that's pretty strong. I mean, it's kind of cool. I got to see what your deck does, so.
Yeah. I opened the combo that Azathoths, which is crazy.
Yeah. Super strong.
So Amit concedes game 2, unable to break that board. I don't know if Sky Strikers can break that board efficiently without using every single card, being able to, I don't know, have 2 negates, and then he still had DD Headhunt to, like, maybe take the Kagari and negate the Kagari's effect. There's just a lot of options for Pack, and not too many options for Amit.
Yeah, I mean, between the Siegfried and the High King Caesar, there's obviously a lot of deception, right? You also have the Deus Machina X. It's just these, like, inherent, built-in extra monsters that the DD engine has already access to that have these disruption effects incredibly powerful, right? I think a big selling point for a lot of this is, really, like, DD, like Flame King Gaze, we've seen that card just do so much, right? All these DD cards are so good at summoning more monsters, so good at, like, fielding more things, and then you just have these powerful extract monsters to follow up with. Like, it's super exciting to see just how strong this deck is and exactly what it can do.
Yeah, it's also really hard to deal with, like, I don't know, even like 2 of those monsters just because of how strong their attack is. They also got boosted by 1800 after he negated. Like, that's just an insane amount. Like, they were each at like over 4,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing I think that we've sort of gotten a little bit more used to, maybe with like monsters that, like, we're used to these extra deck monsters, which is like very little attack. But this deck has a lot of, like, very strong synchros, exceeds high ranks, high levels, fusions, etc. That that they just have big stats built in, right? Like, these are like Zeus level stats where, like, you have to consider how you're gonna be able to destroy these monsters, right? Same with like Baron Defleur as well. Like, all these extract monsters have just such high stats that they're not only putting up disruption, like, that they will have enough damage for sure to end the game the following turn, basically every time.
Yeah, only two strong monsters and like 1 weaker monster is usually game, and we see that a lot in current Yu-Gi-Oh, especially with all the synchro decks and yeah, a lot of the decks that can kind of combo off, make access code talker very easily. It's just very easy to put up a monster that has, say, like 3,000 to 4,000 attack.
Yeah, definitely a lot of options, a lot of things that this deck can do, and I'm excited to see exactly what Amit is going to bring on the Sky Striker side for Game 3, right? Like, we have now a 1-1 duel. Only one of these duels will be lucky enough to make it to the top 4. They're both going to have to fight to earn it. Likely seeing Sky Striker go first here, right? I don't think you want to go second against something like DDD, even though, like, Sky Striker is one of those decks that we're sort of, like, familiar with being very comfortable going second, right? Especially because we saw stuff like Cyframe Gear Gamma, and its cards are just sort of very good at like breaking apart the board as well, just because of all the additional like, oh, I destroy this and then also destroy that, or I'll take your guy effects. Just all those things. Once you easily get enough spell cards in via like all your other things like reinforcement of the army or like the adventure cards or just terraformings, like whatever ways you can just fill your graveyard really quickly to get the bonus effects on. But we will see exactly what cards come out for him. I think one thing that I haven't seen, at least at all this weekend, which was something that I felt like was just the bane of most players' existence in previous tournaments, was things like there can be only one, right? Like summon limit, like these like very high impact continuous trap cards. Like those are things that I think of when I think of Sky Striker right now, right? Like these cards that not only do I have to overcome sort of their grind game and just the positional advantage they have, like I also have to deal with this very powerful continuous trap. So I think, at least from Amit's perspective, right, he's going to try to go first, hopefully draw one of those cards, and then if he doesn't, just to do the best thing a Sky Striker deck can do, and hope that, Pack's hand is weak. We saw it happen in Game 1, right? Like, even though this deck is capable of doing a lot, sometimes it just does very little, or at least it doesn't want to commit to doing things that just aren't enough, right?
Yeah, I could definitely see that, especially with what Amit's playing. You kind of have like 3 engines to start off with, so putting in more maybe traps or Sky Striker cards to kind of that are really good going first. All you really need to do is to open up like a Fusion Destiny or an Adventure card, or even just a Sky Striker card. Just get started, because there's 3 different engines in his deck. So any of those combined with, say, a card like Summon Limit or There Can Be Only One, is definitely ideal for him.
Yeah, 100%. We'll see exactly how this plays out then. I mean, it's going to be an exciting duel, right? We saw a lot of side deck cards, at least very strong, like going second cards from on Game 2. We'll see more of those good going first cards in Game 3 as we go down to the table for the final duel of our top 8 here at the Remote Duel YCS. Pack against Amit. Pack just really trying to get his second title here this weekend. Amit, on the other hand, just trying to break through. Right. Looks like our duels are just waiting for confirmation.
Good luck, dude. Good luck, Pack. I'm going to start.
Sure.
Well, duels, great sportsmanship here. Mitt choosing to go first, like we just anticipated, given that DD sort of known as this all-powerful combo deck. We'll see exactly what Sky Striker can muster on its side.
Go ahead and activate. Right?
Sure.
He's going to go ahead and start right. I was listing off, some powerful spells that you can activate to fill your graveyard early. Completely forgot about right there for a second. I think when I was listing off things like Reinforce the Army, whereas Right of Artemis here is just something that we see over and over. Also, just a tool that Sky Striker now has access to. It's going to go ahead and get him a copy of Fateful Adventure onto the field along with that Adventurer token. Sky Striker, one of those decks that's limited in terms of what it can do if it controls the main deck monsters, right? Or more so monsters in the main monster zones. So he's going to have to figure out some way to get rid of that token. Not very difficult, right? Given that it's a token, so easily used for materials, etc. But we'll see exactly what it do. And it looks like, it just being fuel for Area 0 might be good enough.
Yeah, definitely. It's still just a great combination of cards. Even if you're unable to draw one of your very small Sky Striker cards, or even if you do, you have cards like, he probably plays 3 Area 0 terraforming as well as multi-roll to get rid of those extra monsters that might be on the field.
Activate the effective adventure.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing I'm seeing out of this now is that the right alone will just get him just so many spells in the graveyard thanks to, between the right to go back to Fateful Adventure, also just fuel for Area 0 in general. It looks like he's going to go ahead and grab the Water Enchantress of the Temple from his deck to his hand. See what he chooses to get rid of.
Okay.
And going to choose
put
that.
You back half in top 6, please.
Yep. And
powerful effect that can be activated from the graveyard as well. Really a big part of what makes Water Enchantress just so powerful.
He might just want to be thinning out his deck right now to maybe hit something better with the Area 0.
It's right here.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense here, right? Really digging probably for those key cards that we mentioned before. Maybe do a bunch of thinning here before activating some other spell card that can dig him for a little bit more generic cards. But he's going to go ahead and link away that token, like we mentioned, for a Link Spider. Going to trigger the effect of Fateful Adventure.
And then how many cards in it?
Now I'm going
he's going to grab
4.
4. Okay, thank you.
Draco back, the Rideable Dragon.
And then, well, I think I'm going to go back in, that's why.
Oh, you are. Okay.
Yeah, so now I'm going to go ahead and activate the Enchantress to search out.
Yep. That makes sense. I was like, wait, I thought you were going to go AO next, that's why. Makes sense.
Alright, no. Yeah, that would have been search right. And then how would you like me to cut this time?
Half, and then 8, please.
Top 8 to bottom?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, so I definitely believe he's trying to thin out his deck with the Adventurer cards to hit engage off Area 0 or even a Sky Striker monster.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like he's finally going to go ahead and use that Area 0, get rid of the Fateful Adventure. So just another spell card now into the graveyard. Trades
we are at 3 right now.
And I think I'm going to go still go back in.
And he gets Ray as well, right? Has a ton of cards at his disposal now in his hand.
Activate Engage.
Engage, yep.
And Engage finally now that he has set up. No responses from Pack here. It also has...
It's super cool that he can actually engage, then like summon the Ray, make Kagari, add back engaged, and make Anaconda. And before you use Anaconda, you can like engage again to get like a second draw as well.
Multi-roll, and then I have 3 spells engaged, so I draw.
Yeah, definitely incredibly powerful, right? That he gets to just use all these effects and just get the best version of them as well, right? Thanks to his adventure engine here. I think some players might have thought initially that the adventure engine not something that Sky Striker might use, right? Just because you're like, oh, I get a token, like that's probably just not going to work with most of my cards. But just knowing that you can link it away easily and just another great way to just fill your graveyard with spell cards is exactly what Sky Striker wants to do, right? Like if you can activate a turn 1 engage for the plus, you're going to try to cycle for it every time.
Normal my Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with like what I said earlier, like having multi-roll and Area 0 get rid of those extra cards to even like be able to use the Sky Striker cards is really good.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like he is going to go ahead and summon that Sky Striker Ace Kagari. He's going to go ahead and use its effect, try to grab at the engage, but Pack might try to disrupt him right here.
Yeah, multi off the first one. That's fine.
It's good?
Yep, it's good.
Okay.
Deppin chooses not to. He's going to let him go ahead and grab back that engage. We already know he has multi-roll, as he had mentioned.
Go ahead and link these 2 away. Or Verde.
Both those link monsters going to upgrade to Anaconda. Multi-roll comes down next. Pack just choosing not to respond here, so he might have, he sort of made some interaction. Whether or not he has it, unsure, but we can assume, maybe there's one, but if not, his hand's probably just primarily proactive. So we'll see exactly
Dark Cannon.
What Amit is able to set up here and just how Pack can deal with that on
Judge,
following turn.
How much time do we have left in the round? And how would you like me to cut, by the way?
Half and 6.
Okay, so we got a lot of time. That's good.
Yep.
Enough time in the round. We
Yep, 6.
lost an unfortunate game earlier due to time.
6, and then I get to draw a card because 3 spells in grave.
Yep.
Trying to be better now, so that engage is going to get him a copy of Shark Cannon to his
I
hand.
know Draco back, Shark in hand, right? And then the rights. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he gets to
activate the effect. I'll pay 2,000 and send the cost. Yeah.
That resolves.
Okay.
Yeah, once again, no response here from Pack. I'm gonna go ahead and send Fusion Destiny down.
Is it good?
Yeah.
To the graveyard.
All right. Send Dasher. Send.
Drew the Dasher, but
again.
Celestial.
Yep. Doesn't really matter to us this time, though. He has a full grip, if you will, still at his disposal.
Yep.
Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer going to come down in that leftmost right monster zone for a bit.
I will go ahead and set.
Just deciding exactly how many cards he's going to set here. It has to be wary of some
3 cards.
on top card destruction from Pack. You know, might have one of those
3 cards in my hand
big,
now.
Okay.
Like
just go half.
Half and 4. Okay.
Yep.
So half.
Yep.
And then top 4 to bottom, right?
Yes.
And then proceeding to end phase.
Sure.
Activate DP during the end phase.
Sure.
So I will go ahead and pop. For this. Pause pop DP and Verte.
Yep.
Activate DP in graveyard.
Sure.
Alright. It's your turn.
Draw phase.
You're good. Standby?
Standby good.
Alright.
Main.
You're good, dude.
If it looks like that Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer
actually,
is going to
contract for the gate.
successfully come
Effective
back.
search.
Pack's going to start things off, or at least try to, with a Dark Contract.
I'll go ahead and hash the Dark Contract.
Sure.
Specifically with the gate, that's the one that will let him add cards to his hand, but it looks like it's met with Ash, Blossom, and Joyous Spring from a bit. It's going to stymie him a bit here. Still has 5 more cards, though.
Thinking.
Knows that he has to deal with probably, 3 to 4 things from him inside, but just passing,
Yep.
doesn't bode too well.
DP.
Sure.
Pop my area 0 and then your Dark Contract.
Yep.
Oh, this play is
Effective area
super
0 in
cool.
graveyard.
I'll Ash.
Yeah, right, because he just gets a good. Oh,
Yep.
That with
Unfortunately,
Ash,
it was
so
stopped
good.
by Ash.
Go off
Yep.
turn.
yeah, but
Yep.
Farmer, run me through exactly what was going to happen there if it resolves, because I
So,
think that is
he
a
was-
very cool one.
Yeah, he was gonna Destiny Hero Phoenix Support, pop his Sky Striker Area 0. Area 0 special summon Sky Striker Ace Ray. Ray will tribute itself into a Shizuku, and he gets an end phase search with Shizuku, which
I'm gonna
just
go ahead and
nets him even more.
How many cards are in your hand?
4.
It's more cards. Just being able to do things during your opponent's turn, like Link Summon, right, and get an effect like Shizuku.
I'm
Ooh,
gonna go ahead and activate right.
juicy.
Sure.
So it looks like he's going to go ahead and
Summon
activate right
token,
Armiser, get that faithful.
Switch to attack.
Yep.
I'll proceed to.
I'm
enter
a
the
little
battle
shocked
phase.
that
I'll
Amit
take
didn't want
45.
like
I'm good.
Shark
Yeah,
Cannon,
45.
Ash Blossom, and then maybe set the engage back. But then I guess there's not really
35
any
for
cards he can use
Yep.
the engage with except
Phase
using
2.
DP on
Set
like
one
his turn,
card,
not deal
activate
damage.
multi-roll to pop my token. Or
Sure.
send.
Yeah.
And I'll pass it over
Yeah,
here.
definitely a bit of an interesting line. I think he's just trying to be
Stand
conservative
by.
here, right? Like he
Main.
sees that he could potentially
You're
win
good,
if he's just
proceed.
able to get enough damage this in.
Okay.
Make sure he has enough disruption the following turn. I think that's the plan he's going with. Pack, I'm sure, just his opposite plan of I need to dig for outs to this, right? Like I need something to deal with all 4 of
Cards in
these
hand?
set cards at the very least.
I have 1 card in hand.
Yeah, Sharkan's definitely a very powerful card, as well as Destiny or
And
Phoenix Enforcer, being able
that,
to
like,
destroy whatever he normal summons or activates, and as well as banish a monster from grave, or even take it.
Yeah, just Sky
Choice of
Striker's quick play
battle.
disruption
Change.
on top
Okay.
of Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Just a ton to deal with, especially when it's just able to put you on that quick of a clock too. Thanks to at first I was like, oh, the Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer just does so much damage so quickly, but like even just forgetting about the Faithful Adventurer token, just the fact that you just get this extra chunk of damage on that as well is nice. So he's gonna go ahead and use his slime there. As DD Swirl Slime. At least to attempt to, and we'll see what Admit does in response.
Okay, sorry.
Yep.
You have 4 cards in hand, correct? Before you've
five.
Well, 5, including that card. Yeah.
Yep.
That's fine.
So DD Swirl Slime will allow him fuse from the hand by sending itself and another DD monster to the graveyard.
Yeah, play around Shark Cannon.
Yeah, and then it has an effect where you can banish it to special summon a DD from your hand as well. You can use each of them once. It's just a crazy card, right? Like, not only does it avail your fusion summon,
I can reborn a DD in my graveyard, and when it's destroyed by battle card effect, I get to add any dark contract in the graveyard to my hand.
When it's destroyed by
battle
or card effects.
Yep.
I'm thinking right now.
Sure.
So you have what's the stats on the card?
2015.
And we heard Pack even say, "Yeah, I'll play around Shark Cannon by setting another Swirl Slime from hand to graveyard." So even if he does take one or banishes one, he'll still have the other.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Swirl Slime is a crazy card.
Sanctum.
Yeah.
Oh.
Artifact Sanctum flip there for a
GG, dude.
Yep,
and I think that's all Pack needs to see there. Yeah, just an incredibly strong Sky Striker opening. We saw it. I might go through
I drew 2 Swirl Slime, 2 Dark Contract, and then the Fusion Spell.
Oh my god, that's rough. Yeah, I just kept drawing into striker cards. I wasn't hitting any like my strong traps until last turn where I hit the Sanctum. So.
Yeah, you hit the Sanctum. It was just over. I think I could have beat through the rest, but I couldn't beat through the Sanctum.
Yeah, because I had to play it really weird, like with DPE and whatever on boards.
Yep.
You could have probably burned through everything and just gone nuts.
Yeah, I could have. I just couldn't beat the Sanctum, but it happens.
Yeah, Sanctum's just too strong with that.
Yep.
GG, dude.
GG's.